I do a lot of fighting. I fight other people. I do that every day. It's a completely different thing to have to fight inside your head. When I was 19, I struggled with a rare form of anxiety called derealization. It's essentially like a dissociative anxiety where you feel, it's like kind of like being in the Matrix, is how I always describe it. A lot of people, especially like guys, we block out everything that we experience mentally, emotionally. And derealization was the first anxiety symptom that I ever had that I couldn't ignore. And I had to do some real work, and I did therapy, antidepressants, all that stuff afterwards. And I dealt with that for 9 months. And so that was a really transformative experience for me. And after getting through that experience, paired with realizing that there are some people who have that experience and don't get through it, that made me very passionate about sharing stories about mental health and things that I've done. So it's funny, therapy has been it's been the best move I've ever made for my athletic career. And it's funny because I was terrified to go to therapy. They're gonna think I'm crazy. The therapist is gonna think I'm weak. After a couple weeks, I was like, oh, I kind of like this. It's kind of nice. Now it's like a place where I go to make sure that the shit that's going on in my head is not impacting the rest of my life. And so after about 1.5 years of doing therapy, I won a purple belt world championship in jiu-jitsu. And it was because, in my opinion, because I started to recognize that the thoughts in my head, the negative thoughts in my head that had been holding me back, were not real. For a long time, I thought negative thoughts were a sign of me being inadequate. And through going to therapy, doing all this stuff, I was able to learn that my negative thoughts that I have are not, they're not me. And doing that was huge for my competitive jiu-jitsu career, but also just huge for my life. I was more confident in my relationships, I was more confident, just walking down the street, more confident in everything that I do in my life. But not just that, it's as I started to get better with my symptoms, it was okay, now we need to start to develop habits so that we don't have this happen again. I know for me now, when I'm experiencing periods of extreme anxiety, I shut down. I have this dissociative episode again. And so it's I have to do preventative work. Same thing when we're training for martial arts, we have to do strength and conditioning work so that we don't get injured. Injury prevention is just as important as training.
Sprint, fast you can go, 10 seconds, fast you can go. Go, go, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time.
I have to maintain habits, I have to take care of my sleep, I can't drink a bunch of alcohol, I have to be good with my diet, I have to be careful around people who stress me out, all this stuff. I have to, I meditate, read, all these things that make me more, more or less anxious. There's people in jiu-jitsu who say, oh, jiu-jitsu is my therapy. And those people I feel have never been to therapy, because that's not what therapy's like at all. Jiu-jitsu, martial arts, training, going to the gym, it's an outlet for sure, but it's a distraction, right? We're not addressing the problems that we have.
I know my anxiety is not that bad anymore because I drink so much more coffee. When it was bad, I couldn't have I would have 1 cup of coffee and I would be I've been zooming.
When I first started writing, I was just I'm writing whatever I want. Now, my writing is whatever I'm struggling with. Then I just post it, and sometimes people like it. I like people read my stuff and they tell me that it like was super impactful for them, and that's just wild to me.